Prizes, hosts, catchphrases. Well, I know a lot about the last one. It's TV's greatest game shows with me, Roy Walker. New on Challenge.
Nice to see you nice. It's time to come on down for a mighty marathon of game shows. It's TV's greatest game shows. Please welcome your legendary host, Catchphrases, Roy Walker.
Greetings, game show fans, and welcome to TV's greatest game shows. I'm Roy Walker, and I'm here to take you on a trip down memory lane as we go in search of game show gold.
Watching a game show was such a communal thing.
Deal or No Deal, the generation game.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Family members of all ages would pile on the sofa and join in.
I remember watching shows like 15 to 1 and going for gold with my granddad and how proud he was when I came out with an answer faster than he could.
There's one golden rule, which is you've got to be able to play along.
I love quiz shows. I think I could win them all.
If the people at home can play it, that's what hooks them in.
Well, that could be me. That could be me winning that money.
It's about the challenge, be it like physical or mental.
It's good, but it's not right.
Without a fantastic host, there is no game show.
Bruce Forsyth and Chris Tarrant and Bob Monkhouse, all those people sort of inspire me a little bit to do what I do.
A great game show has the ability just to pull everybody together, and that's what makes it special.
Our journey begins all the way back in 1973 when Pink Floyd released Dark Side of the Moon. The last of the summer wine began, and I was just a sparkle in my mum's eye. Oh, and one of the finest game shows ever was already into its second year, starring one of the greatest variety hosts of all time.
TV's greatest game show hosts. Didn't they do well?
Live is the name of the game. And here he is, Bruce Forsyth. Not happy with just presenting the generation game, he's singing the theme tune as well, in a style that was pure showbiz. If only they'd let me do that with Catchphrase.
Oh, Brucey, we miss you.
He was Saturday Night King, wasn't he?
Oh, that's so adorable. How brilliantly eccentric was it? To always come up like that, and then he sings the theme tune. You can't imagine people doing that now. You can't imagine like Simon Cowell sort of coming on like that and going live, you know what I mean?
Everything was always all right when Bruce was about. And that pose, it's so classic Bruce, isn't it?
Thank you very much indeed. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen and children. Welcome to the generation game.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. To see you.
To see you.
To see you.
Nice! I mean, like, that is such a classic catchphrase.
Nice to see you. To see you.
When you come from an entertainment background and you've been a solo performer at a top level like Bruce, you really understand how to interact with your audience.
You do look a lovely lot. And before the show, you know, people back home, we gave them a paper hat, a bottle of champagne, and some nuts. Didn't you get your champagne? No. You think we're nuts?
When you watch Bruce Forsyth as a viewer at home, you felt a personal relationship with him because he would do these little asides to the camera, like, oh, what's he like? What's he like?
You're sitting on his settee, you actually felt he was talking to you. He'd actually talk to you at home by just giving you that look, one little wink, a little one of those things.
And you're like, yeah, Brucey, you're right there, because he looks directly at you, so you are completely in the game.
Fast forward 3 decades, and Bruce returned to host the generation game throughout the 90s. Here he is, proving that he's still got it.
Let me welcome you to the Moulin Rouge.
Bruce Forsyth welcomed you all in as the family. Come and join me on this game show. Let's have a laugh for the next hour.
The generation game was an hour of fun, variety, and involves the whole generation of the family.
The generation game was total mayhem most of the time, and it was learning a skill. And Bruce knew how to make learning a skill entertaining.
Bruce Forsyth, despite the fact that he was all pizzazz and showbiz and showmanship, he would get stuck in with the guests, and a lot of the humour would be him mucking things up or making things worse, or sort of affectionately laughing at what they'd done and making them giggle about it. So he sort of put everything at ease and brought a silliness to it.
I think Bruce probably mastered the art of rehearsed spontaneity, because he would have known that, for example, in the can-can, you know, he was going to get between that lovely old lady's legs.
Kick your legs! Look out now!
Opening the lady's legs, you know, with his eyes closed and going, woo! He just knew how to keep his audience entertained.
He knew exactly how far to push it. He knew how far he could go. He went further than anybody else, especially on the physical stuff as well. You know, nowadays you wouldn't get away with that sort of gear, but Brucey, he'd been doing it for 50 years. He knew it inside out. He knew exactly who he was on stage, and everybody knew what to expect with him. They knew that they weren't going to get an easy time with him. They knew that he was going to dig them out, and they knew it was going to be fun.
That was the sort of really adorable thing about it, was the affectionate poking fun at failures.
Didn't they do well?
Didn't they do well indeed? Now, this next host told over 1 million jokes in his 50-year career. I'm a bit off 1 million myself, but I think once I get the first one under my belt, it'll get easier. It's Bob Monkhouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, the master of the house, Monkhouse.
What makes a great performer is somebody who's really comfortable in their own skin. He was a very charming gentleman, but he also loved doing stand-up, and he was brilliant at it.
This is Bob Monkhouse on Bob's Full House, and he's always got those brilliant types of jokes which lead you one way and takes you back the other.
Last week, as the studio audience came in, we asked them all our question. Our question was, what is it that a man does standing up, and a woman does sitting down, and a dog does with one leg raised? And do you know, only one person said shaking hands?
Bob Monkhouse was great with the one-liners, super intelligent man, an IQ of about 2,000, and he always had a line for every single situation and every single contestant.
And it's like he's thinking them up on the spot, and he probably is. He's got a Bible of all these amazing one-liners that he just goes through his Rolodex, and it's that one will work, and it always gets a laugh.
Denise! What do you do for a living?
I work in a casino. I'm a croupier.
Casinos are very lovely places to work in, aren't they?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
They make people very religious, too. I've seen people come out of casinos going, oh, God.
The best hosts are the ones that have got something funny to say about every single contestant. You know, these are punters, and we're learning about them, and for them to have a quick joke off the back of it is amazing, and Bob Monkhouse was the best at that.
Do you have many brothers and sisters?
No, I don't. I'm an only child.
So you have an only child? You are an only child?
Yes.
Was your mummy an only child?
No, she was one of 15.
Every contestant he ever had on the show, he had something up his sleeve. You knew that he prepped it, and you could see the way that he took them, he teed them up, and then smashed it out of the park every time.
Really? Was she a good Catholic lady, an Irish, Italian lady?
No, she was German.
German?
Mm-hmm.
That explains it, you see. Your grandfather said, do you want kids? She said 9, and he misunderstood.
A classic from the 80s. Bob Monkhouse there in his Full House, with more chat than a French cattery. Get it? Bob helped us get to know his contestants just a little bit more, and in a style that always kept us laughing. Bruce Forsyth in the Generation Game brought us some of game show's greatest prizes on a literal conveyor belt of fun. And what could bring more joy than one of these? That's right, it's a cuddly toy, and they certainly got their money's worth, because this running gag went on for about 3 decades. Don't move from that hot seat. It's the greatest prizes next on TV's Greatest Game Shows.
It's a mega marathon of game show gold. It's TV's greatest game shows. Please welcome back your host with the most, Roy Walker.
Welcome back to TV's greatest game shows, where we're hopping into a television time machine to bring you the most scintillating and superb snippets from the game shows of yesteryear. Now, £1 million, a trip to the Bahamas. The highlight of any game show has to be the amazing prizes you can walk away with, right? Unless you're on Blankety Blank, where one of Les Dawson's running gags became the quality of those amazing prizes.
TV's greatest game show prizes. It's what points make.
Welcome to Blankety Blank, ladies and gentlemen, the only show where we have to force the contestants to accept the prizes.
Oh, I used to love Blankety Blank. That is another kind of classic feel-good family show.
May I say I'm slightly emotional? These are the prizes you can win.
A unicycle with accessories. A superb set of luggage. Be a home movie maker. Cut-glass decanter and glasses. A unique pocket TV. This economical deluxe moped.
So you get the really amazing prize. Everyone's like, ooh, and then the not-so-good one. Oh. And so that kind of goes, it's a bit like whooping and cheering when the fireworks go off. Everybody knows the protocol, you know you've got to follow along. I love the decanter. I mean, what classy home did not have a crystal decanter for the sherry? Ours didn't.
You're not going away empty-handed because you're taking with you something that will be part of you the rest of your life. You're taking with you, a Blankety Blank checkbook and pen!
Some people only want on Blankety Blank to be able to walk away with a checkbook and pen!
The Blankety Blank checkbook and pen would not have become the coveted prize it became if it hadn't have been for Les. It was the way that he went, and you can win, you know, the Blankety Blank checkbook and pen. It built it. It was his entertainment background that knew this would create something out of a checkbook and pen.
Of course, the gag being, the check was blank. Hey!
Meanwhile, on Bullseye, contestants were in with the chance to win a prize that became an absolute classic.
The greatest prize ever, the speedboat. Nobody wanted to win it. We didn't even have a car back then to put the speedboat on. We didn't have a driveway to keep the speed. We didn't live anywhere near water.
You've got your skis on there, you've got a huge engine on the back.
There's the skis, yeah. There's your boat. You live on a council estate in North London, but hey, you've got a speedboat.
Jim used to sell it like it was the best thing in the world, and it was. It was a great speedboat.
Haven't you done well? We have. And you have done well, yes.
Jim Bowen had an in with a speedboat company, and he got about 100 of them and said, right, I don't know, we're going to have to give away as prizes. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Give them a bully and a speedboat.
It won't be put out, nor will the kids, if you take home this remote-controlled pussycat.
Viewers always kind of go, could you believe it? They were giving away like a remote-controlled cat. They don't understand what a terrible prize that is. You think, that is a group of producers having such a laugh, thinking, we got 20 million people watching this show, and we can do anything we want. Why? And someone's going, you know, there's this electric cat. And they're kind of going, brilliant, put it in the prize pot.
Take the screens away, please. All right, then. Now, lots of articles are going to pass before your eyes. We want you to have a real good look.
So the big thing that we always used to love watching with the family when we sat down to watch the Generation Game on telly was the conveyor belt at the end. Forget everything that had gone before. It was all about what that one person can remember going along the conveyor belt.
We have a stereophonic record player and 2 speakers. Fanny Craddock's mince pie, a monster one, a cuddly teddy bear.
Probably the most standout, the most legendary, the most coveted game show prize of all time. The cuddly toy! Yes!
A transistorized radio for world reception. And another cuddly teddy bear. A waffle iron. And another cuddly teddy bear.
How do they remember? I mean, waffle iron, I got that. And cuddly teddy bears. I mean, yeah, it's just so random.
They have to remember all these items on this conveyor belt. And I'd think, God, would I be able to do that? Like, how do you even cope with that?
A camera. And another cuddly teddy bear.
just really kind of bizarre things interspersed with teddy bears, which I guess is just going to completely try and throw you off. But I just love the kind of look of absolute concentration on the contestants' faces as they're really trying to, like, recall everything.
You've got 45 seconds to recount your thoughts, starting from now.
But they normally only remembered about a third of the things. I think Bruce probably reminded them very nicely of, oh, remember the saucepan? Yeah, and the hi-fi at the start. Oh, that's right.
Hair rollers.
The hair rollers.
That green thing.
That green thing. The green thing.
The whisk, electric whisks.
Yeah, the suitcases.
And the suitcases,
The suitcases.
So in the end, they went away with everything anyway. And they showed the whole stack of prizes on the pit. They showed, well, this is what you're walking away with tonight. And it was everything. Without the help of Brucey, they'd have just gone home with the Walkman and the cuddly toy. That would have been it.
Didn't he do well?
Didn't he do well? He might have done, but not everyone does. Sometimes it's the losers that are the most entertaining.
TV's greatest game show, Losers. If this next answer's up there, I'll give you lot all the money myself.
Name something people take with them to the beach.
Turkey.
The first thing you buy in a supermarket.
Turkey.
A food often stuffed.
Turkey.
Any famous snooker player.
Hamilton Higgins.
Let's try again. Any famous snooker player. Your time is out.
I love that. I love it when someone just loses it, because all the top answers are gone and they're just flailing around.
What would you take to the beach? It's like, he's got his family behind him and he's just going, Turkey?
The pressure's on, everything's at stake, and you say the wrong thing. You say something that pops into your head and somehow your muscles don't retain it. It comes out and you say something ridiculous.
That's what happens when you're put under pressure. Oh my God, the family was so disappointed in him.
Two of his more supportive family members are going, OK, well, he did all right, hopefully. You know, and then they've got the one bloke going, no, he's not, he's ruined it. He's ruined the family holiday. We're going to Butlins again.
Now, you've got a chance here of making £1,000 and 2 weeks... 2 weeks in Turkey. And,
Max then commenting that it's a holiday to Turkey, which it probably wasn't, but that's what makes the game.
Name something people take with them to the beach. You said... The answer was... the first thing you buy in a supermarket. The answer was... and the survey gave you... a food often stuffed, you said. And that gave you 21!
That reminds me, I must remember to pick up some turkey on the way home. A classic game show fail from Family Fortunes there, showing how much fun it can be when the contestant gets it so very wrong, the studio audience, the presenter, and even the contestant who just lost found it absolutely hilarious. And that's another reason why we absolutely love game shows. To a firm family favourite now that brought you all the joy of a night down the pub. It's the one, it's the only Bullseye, which saw a few fails in its time.
There was the general knowledge, so you had to kind of be up on that. But primarily, you had to be good at darts. And, I think it's one thing to be good at darts, a few beers, local pub, with your mates and do pretty well. But then to be in a TV studio, under pressure, and you've got, back in the day, it was probably most of Britain watching you. I mean, that's stressful.
Of course, you had the throwers, the people that could throw stuff, and then you had the knowers, the people that knew stuff. I don't think they were interchangeable. I think you were either a thrower or a knower. See, that's what happens when a knower has to be the thrower. He can't hit the dartboard.
Yes. Well, have we got a joiner in the house? Real set. No problem.
No, you see why I answered the question.
Probably he's really good, and I bet he's brilliant at local darts night in the pub. And then that happens. Whoa. It was a fail.
An 8, unlucky.
Boys,
Look, Martin.
It was excellent try, really was. I've got to say, the most painful thing said on television at the moment. Just have a look at what you could have won. And Bully's star prize tonight is a holiday with a difference in classic Kenya.
Not only have you lost, you've got to deal with it. You're like, I know I've lost, but then you've got Jim saying, right, come on, let's have a look at, let's see how miserable you really can be. Let's see what you could have won.
I've got to show you. Have a look at what you could have won. Come with me. Yes, it's a wonderful apartment holiday for four in laid-back Barbados. It's the island where a good time can be a quiet stroll along the beach, or perhaps something a little more strenuous.
Bully's just in the corner going, oh, look, it. And then he does do that, to be fair to him. But I tell you, behind those eyes, Bully don't care.
It can't be done. So sad.
Oh, dear.
That's the gamble.
Oh,
Over to Jim.
Sorry about that. Come and have a look at what you would have won. Come on. Come and have a look. You've done it. Come and have a look at it.
Jim Bowen had northern charm, one of these hosts that you kind of trust. He was with you along the way. He was willing you on. So he'd give the contestants a hug if they lost, or properly take the mickey out of them if they did something like miss the dartboard 3 times in a row.
Ron would go first, and then Gavin. Well, Ron had better go first, or else there'd be no dartboard for anybody late.
The late, great comedian Jim Bowen, a man who turned rubbing it in into an art form with his famous catchphrase, let's see what you could have won. Coming up, we get a bit more Bully. Well, they say you can never have enough Bully, along with some crazy good luck charms and game show mascots that, on reflection, were pretty bizarre. See you in about 3, 2, 1.
More game shows than you can cram into Dusty Bin. It's TV's greatest game shows. Please welcome back Catchphrases, Roy Walker.
It's TV's greatest game shows, where we're remembering all of our favourite shows from across the years. And where would we be without Mascots? In the world of game shows, they're part of the family. In fact, one particular game show loved them so much that it encouraged the players to bring their mascots in as good luck charms.
TV's greatest game show mascots. Lucky for some.
With a cheesy theme tune as jaunty as it was catchy, and figureheads of famous people, including, bizarrely, the Greek god Zeus in the opening titles. A show that became as synonymous with students as pot noodles and debt. It's Blockbusters!
It's been pointed out that one or two of you at home have just seen the top of one of your mascots there, Sarah Jane.
On Blockbusters, the contestants were really young, and they probably just stepped out of a world where, you know, you had your cuddly toys or whatever, and you had your little keepsakes.
Blockbusters was the sort of perfect show if you're a teenager, essentially. Firstly, it's on every day. You got home from school and it's on at that time. Secondly, it's got people sort of your age.
Ecclesbourne School in Derby, right?
Yeah. Part of the joy was that people brought in their little mascots, a little gonk or a troll or a beloved teddy bear or something that was supposed to bring them a bit of luck.
And it was just a bit of a talking point.
One of your mascots there, Sarah Jane. It's a picture of a monkey. Can you tell me why?
Because I just love monkeys.
Oh.
And my mum would say that I'd look like my dad, but not really.
An orangutan is not a monkey, it is an ape. See, that's the first thing I thought when I saw that. I thought, well, what is that girl doing on Blockbusters? She doesn't know the difference between monkeys and apes.
People say, oh no, but the trouble with Blockbusters is always 2v1, which is not fair. You know, and I know that they've got to get 5 across the middle before 4 o'clock, but it's still not fair. Yeah, but that's the beauty of that show. If it's not that, then it's just 2 people playing against each other.
Blockbusters was quite a dry show.
What F was the surname of the American manufacturer? Yes, Alice?
Ford.
Yes, Alice, it is. It's Blockbusters.
The beauty of that show is you're sitting at home going, oh, no, I'd always go on as a 2. Or, I reckon I could win this as a 1. Or, isn't it weird how the 1 wins more often than you think? You know, that's the little bit of grit in the oyster that turns into a pearl.
As the format went on, people brought more and more bizarre things in to bring them luck.
Who was responsible for that thing at the front?
The gruesome head, you know, that's just that they're young and I think this is like this wild thing that they've brought in and it makes the sort of, you know, very grown-up presenter be, but what on earth is that?
Right, let's have a little look at it. What is it and what's its name?
It's called the head.
Yes, I can see that.
And it's a head. And you can pull its eye out.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much indeed.
I mean, what possessed somebody to even own an object like a gruesome head with a detachable eyeball, let alone take it on national TV and claim it was a lucky thing. It's awful. Nobody wanted to see that.
Next on our archive adventure, it's a mascot that was simply rubbish. Yes, it's the booby prize that bounced in on the opening titles of this classic variety show. Based on the original Spanish version called Un, Dos, Tres, it's 3, 2, 1 and Dusty Bin.
This is lovely Dusty Bin. Do you like him? Oh, he's a sweetheart. I love him dearly. Unfortunately, he's our booby prize.
He was more than just a bin. He was a superstar. He was the show. I'm sure Ted Rogers, when he used to walk around, people used to say to him, "Oi, where's Dusty?" I bet he loved that.
He looks very charming, but you win him, you get a dustbin. Our booby prize, Dusty Bin. Here he is.
He was a booby prize. He was just a piece of plastic on some wheels. But he meant a lot to a lot of people.
All the different sides to 321 are what made it a unique game show. There was the game side of it, but there was the song and dance side of it. Ted Rogers had been in variety. He'd done dance routines. He could lend his hand to anywhere they wanted him to go with the programme. And it worked really well.
I think having mascots on game shows, they were very much a thing of the time.
Dusty Bin, he wasn't just the mascot, he introduced the theme of the show.
Even happened to dress up in the theme of the week as a cowboy or an astronaut, whatever it might have been. So he was very much a part of the show.
Now, just a minute, Dusty. That's no bull at all. That's your little dog Garbage.
I didn't know that Dusty Bin had a dog called Garbage.
What would you do if you had to face a real bull? Now, come on. What would you do? Oh, no.
It's almost like he was real, but he wasn't.
People would be very happy just to walk away with a Dusty Bin, even though it wasn't like a proper life-size one that would do his stuff with Ted. It was just a little miniature thing.
There's your ceramic Dusty Bin.
Dusty Bin itself just became an iconic game show star.
Now, let's bring back the meaty mascot with the mighty moo. It's Bully. Darts players were big in the 80s, so a bull that threw arrows and drove a bus was always going to be massive. Bully would fly in on a speeding dart and eject out of his seat like a bovine bond to perfectly set up the show. You can't beat a bit of Bully.
But you can win a speedboat, you can win skis, you can win a holiday to Miami. But what you really want is one of these. It's a bully. It's an original bully.
Who would have thought that Bully would become such a big character from going... He was an animated character, but he just became such a big part of the show.
I can't believe I'm actually touching a bully. I love him.
Everybody loved Bully. I think they wanted him more than the main prize.
Oh, my gosh. Can I keep this?
Great mascot, Bully. Everybody wanted a bully. You can't get these days. Can I take this one home?
Oh, what a character he was, alongside Jim Bowen.
I'd like to thank the producer, the secretaries, the lighting men, the cameramen. I don't think I've forgotten anybody. And, oh, of course, there's Bully as well. He'll keep us on the straight and narrow.
Lots of comics would always have a sidekick, and Jim Bowen had done comedy, so really Bully became his sidekick.
Jim comes from that, you know, working men's club circuit, and then to come and bring that onto TV was like a new thing.
And what do you do, Rob? I'm a foreman of paper makers. And it's quite fascinating, the paper you make, isn't it? Well, it's banknotes for abroad. So you make money. Have you any family? No. No family, so it's all quids and no kids.
He had this persona that he was just a bloke down the pub. And that's what the game was, basically. It was just a pub quiz, throwing darts. Didn't need the brains of Lloyd George to work that one out. And, yeah, it was so successful.
And Bully for You was written on the dartboard at the end of each episode, as Bully said goodbye for another week with a cheeky wink.
TV's greatest game show mascots.
Here we go. Mr. Chips, watch him. He's very important.
Next up, Say What You See, with my animated mascot that always kept us guessing. It's Mr. Chips.
Sticking to a diet. Sticking to the diet, sticking to your diet is right.
So, Mr. Chips, is he like literally a chip?
You've got to remember, 1986, when the first catchphrase started, it was like Mr. Chips and, you know, having that video screen. That was cutting-edge technology.
So he's a chip that helps out with catchphrases.
What was it? It was a computer graphic, but became legendary.
Peter, 10-year stretch.
Right.
Why was he called Mr Chips? Is he a robot?
No, Karis. Despite looking and behaving like a robot, Mr. Chips was, of course, a computer chip. I thought that was obvious.
Is that what a computer chip looks like? Okay.
Of course he's a computer chip. Why didn't I think of that?
No, he's a robot. He always will be a robot in my eyes.
That Mr Chips was responsible for 1 or 2 game show fails, I think you'll find.
Dumb waiter.
Dumb waiter's not right. Sean's back. Here's the catchphrase. £290. Please take a square. On the right. 5 seconds. Here we go.
So you'd get your catchphrases right, and that'd get you through to the bonus round. And then once the bonus round comes up, you've got 9 squares, and so then you'd pick one, and I think it would be like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and then you'd have to guess.
Tip the waiter.
Oh, God. One of the best reveals of a picture ever.
Can you solve it? Here we go. 5 seconds. Here we go.
I mean, he looks drunk. I mean, that's what was going on in it, right? That he was drunk. Yeah. He looked a bit tipsy. Yeah?
Now, you'd think these things were set up so that wouldn't happen, so the right squares would go at the right time, but it just made it look filthy.
Here comes the bonus. Sean, 5 seconds. Here we go. Sean, you're going to have to speak or we'll run out of time.
I've no idea, sorry.
Say what you see. Say what you see. And then sometimes you couldn't actually say what you saw because it could potentially be quite rude.
It just looked like Mr. Chips was having a little DIY night, you know, like we've all been there. Even a little 1986 computer chip is having an evening in on his own.
That's outrageous. You can't have that sort of thing going on. It's a family show.
Because that bloke playing the game, he did know. He did have an answer, but there's no way he could say the answer he had in his head.
Sean!
Snake charmer.
He's right! Of course it's a snake charmer.
That ended up being one of the most outrageous game show clips of all time. Mr. Chips!
I remember it well. One of the most outrageous moments in catchphrase history. The famous snake charmer. When poor old Mr. Chips, he just seemed to lose the plot. Anyway, it's time for some play-at-home fun in a moment when we return to sing along to the greatest game show theme tunes. So, I'll see you in a bit.
It's a nostalgic trip into game shows gone by. It's TV's greatest game shows. Please welcome back Roy Walker.
Well, remembering all those top game shows makes me feel more warm and fuzzy than a sandwich at the bottom of dusty bin. So now it's time to involve you at home, the lovely viewers. What's more nostalgic than an old school game show? That's right, an old school game show theme tune. Can you name the tune before our celebrity contestants?
TV's greatest game show theme tunes. Fastest finger first.
Oh. I'm gonna go for something ridiculous. Sale of the century.
You know what I'm gonna say. It's good, but it's not right.
Well, darling, that's University Challenge.
That's right!
University Challenge.
It's posh and it's fancy and it's a little bit more highbrow and it's got like strings, and University Challenge was the game show for people who just fancied themselves as a cut above.
Well done. Fingers on buzzers. Here comes your next game show theme tune.
Ooh, countdown!
That's right!
Great theme tune. Everybody knows it. It's got the excitement, but also builds the tension with the clock ticking down. So you know you've got that certain amount of time before it gets to that bit where it goes...
Keris and Shappy have one each. Get ready. Here comes another classic.
The heat is on. The time is right. It's time for you to play your game.
I'm not going to buzz. I know it. I want to hear the rest of it, though.
Everyone's trying.
Unless Shappy is buzzed in already. I'm going in. Before he says the title. Going for gold.
That's the right answer.
It's essentially a group of Europeans for whom English was not their first language, beating people for whom English was their first language. And that's a great Euro theme. That's Hans Zimmer, I think, wrote that as one of the great kind of film composers. Iconic, classic.
Yes, that's right. The man behind the music of The Lion King, Gladiator, Inception, and The Pirates of the Caribbean also wrote the incredible catchy Europop anthem Going for Gold. Well, I know what he'll be remembered for in my house.
Hans Zimmer wrote that theme tune. It just goes to show what people do in their careers before they make it big time. Isn't that amazing?
TV's greatest game show theme tunes. Fastest finger first.
The game is tense, with 1 point each for Keris, Shappy and Richard. Ready to play? Here comes another theme tune.
All I think of when I think of this is the Travelator. It's Gladiators.
Yes, it's Gladiators!
This theme tune's brilliant because it gives you a sense of something in a massive arena that we've probably never seen in this country on such a big scale. People with foam fingers. You knew it was entertaining, you knew it was active, you knew it was going to be sort of great to watch because there were so many things that could go wrong. Brilliant theme tune.
And Keris takes the lead as we hear our final theme tune.
So exciting, what is it?
Yes! Oh, I could be in the audience for this.
Takes me back.
Blockbusters!
That's right, Blockbusters. What a brilliant orchestral theme tune. It's sophisticated, classy, and it just makes you want to jive along. It also had that effect on the entire audience.
The camera would pan around to the audience and they're all doing a bit of this and a bit of that quite quickly, in time with the music, but such a great spectacle to watch. All these people in the audience doing that.
And our winner is Game Show Superfan, Keris!
Yes! I knew it! I knew it! Game Show fan.
How many theme tunes did you get right at home? And don't tell lies because Mr Chips is watching you. We've already heard from Brucey and Bob Monkhouse, and there are many more classic game show hosts to choose from, such as my mates, Paul, Henry and Ted. Sounds like a psychedelic band from the 60s.
TV's greatest game show hosts. They're almost as important as the voiceover artist.
Paul Daniels presented a wonderful game show back in the 1980s called Every Second Counts, which had a colourful graphic of a ticking clock in the opening titles.
Paul Daniels.
When Paul was hosting any show, he never put on any airs and graces, whoever he was talking to. His performance values really helped because he knew how to interact with people.
Give me that again.
She ironed?
Her blouse.
Yeah.
And burnt her neck.
And burnt your neck?
I didn't have it on the first time I ironed it. Just the second. Just straighten
How
out
did you
the
do
collar
it?
a little bit. Everything.
You ironed it while you had it on?
He knew how to entertain them.
If you think this character is a cat, answer in a perfect cat voice, meow. OK? But I want a good meow. And if you think it's a dog, answer woof woof.
When he was talking naturally with his contestants, he knew how to draw things out of them that they wouldn't normally say if they remembered they were on camera.
And it was all romantic and smooth.
Well, this flies bust, that man.
Yeah?
And when Every Second Counts came out in the 80s, Bruce Forsyth used to say it is the best constructed game show.
Welcome to Every Second Counts, the show where couples play to win seconds of time. What is the name of the son in Dickens' Dombey and Son?
And here's an example of exactly how contestants won seconds of time. Sometimes right up to the last few moments.
Hold for 2 seconds, right on.
Thrilling gameplay there, and every second counts. And now, for a host that's done more to further European relations than Champions League football, Angela Merkel, and the Eurovision Song Contest put together. Here's the instantly recognisable gold medal that reversed to show the map of Europe in the opening titles of Going for Gold with Henry Kelly.
Going for Gold was one of my quintessential game shows. Henry Kelly was such a great host. It was his world, and he was welcoming you into it, so you felt like you were part of the Going for Gold gang.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. And in honour of the day that's in it, welcome to Going for Gold, wherever you're watching us in Europe, and welcome to our studio audience here in London on a very special day.
The idea of Going for Gold originally came from the United States, where it was called Run for the Money.
Run for the money!
When it was offered to the BBC in the dim and distant past, Michael Grade, who was then the boss of BBC, said he didn't want a show that had the word money in it. Once you put the word money in, you imply greed. Nobody would enter Going for Gold hoping to make a fortune. So they were there for that more precious thing that humanity has, and that's pride.
I don't think I would be the only person in Britain who said that they didn't, extend a sick period from school to watch the series finale of Going for Gold.
I married my high school... Daphne.
Robert Mitchum.
Is the correct answer, Daphne.
The main prize was a holiday to go to the Olympics in Seoul. That was insane. It was compelling viewing, and possibly that's something that's inspired me to become a professional quizzer and to continue that, because it was such a thrill.
She's the European quiz champion, and Daphne, there's your tickets to the Olympic Games. Well done, Daphne Hudson.
We've already remembered the classic mascot, Dusty Bin, from 3-2-1. But Ted Rogers also had a trick that everyone loved to try at home. Can you do it?
Welcome to another session of 3-2-1. Now, that wasn't too quick, was it? Well, try it again. See if you can do it yourself. Go on, boom, boom, boom.
So, no, yeah, that way. 3, 2, 1. No.
So you always got to try and work out which way it is to start. So it's got to be, right. See, he even started quick.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, that was close.
Take care. Have a good week. Good night, everybody. Bye now.
Come on.
3, 2, 1.
Right.
Hours of my life has been spent doing that.
Ted Rogers there. I'll get it right one of these days. Coming up, we get quizzical as we remember the masters of game show tension. And we feel the power of those physical game shows. Hey, don't go anywhere.
Dancing down the memory lane of classic game shows. It's TV's greatest game shows. Please welcome back Roy Walker.
Greetings, game show fans. I'm Roy Walker, and our trip down memory lane is about to get a lot bumpier because it's time to take a look at physical games. And what better place to start than gladiators? Here's a little known fact. I was asked to be one of the original gladiators. It's true. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me use a taser, so I respectfully declined. Like a call to action at the start of every episode, the theme song would ask us if we felt the power of the gladiators. Well, do you?
The ultimate challenge, the might of the gladiators. Jet. Warrior.
Contenders, ready! Gladiators, ready! 3, 2, 1.
Gladiators ready! Contender ready! You know, everybody would go around the playground saying that.
There goes his no-claim bonus.
I mean, Gladiators was amazing. It's kind of what we'd all been waiting for. We'd had loads of quiz shows. We needed, like, some physicality in game shows.
3, 2, 1. It's hammer time!
One of the iconic games of the gladiators is when they're on the podiums and they've got great big sticks and they're trying to knock the other person off.
The contender off.
You know, if you were watching that at my age as a teenager, you really wanted to have a go.
You kind of wanted to emulate your favourite gladiators in the playground at school. And that became a little bit dangerous when you start involving climbing frames and swings and stuff.
We would again try and recreate this at home with various assortments of, you know, sofa cushions and pillows and black eyes.
Oh, gladiators, all the women were so glamorous. We all wanted to be Jet. She was beautiful.
A former national gymnast squad member with those looks and those stats, she's Gladiator's very own Wonder Woman.
And then you had the complete contrast of Wolf, the baddie, who we all hated.
Another really iconic game show, but so different to everything that had come before because it was about physical challenges.
What have the Beatles, Bon Jovi, and inflicting intense physical pain on game show contestants got in common? That's right, they're all big in Japan. And here's one of the most famous, fiendish Japanese game shows of them all. Do you remember this manga-style animated intro?
Takeshi's Castle, I mean, this is when things just took a really kind of swerving turn to the left, didn't it? And went up a whole nother level.
Oh, right in the edge! Why would you sign up to do Takeshi's Castle? They're like fearless little ninjas.
Oh, come on, love, pull the other one. See what I did there? Was it worth it? Must be freezing in that water. See what I did again?
It was one of the first times that the voiceover was as important as what you were seeing. You know, it was a new style of show where the voiceover was kind of king, and Craig Charles was hilarious.
I'm Craig Charles, the man, the myth, the legend, the not so tall, not so dark, not so handsome man. And this is where television really does earn its keep. It's the game show that's sticky, tricky, and doesn't take the mickey. I once knew a girl called Nikki. If you leave your seat now, someone else will only nab it, so stay where you are and let the good times roll.
But people are really hurting themselves. I mean, it's really quite brutal, and in only a way that the Japanese can do. I mean, they just seem to have an absolute knack, don't they, for this kind of TV, and it's brilliant.
Oh, that's going to give every orifice a good clean out.
There's a certain amount of comedy slapstick to it. I do think these fearless contestants are really serious about it, but in terms of the surroundings they're in and the challenges they're going for, it's a bit like a circus.
Suck the full force of that, though. His eyes might be watering, but he's still standing. Oh! Got him on the backdrop.
Maybe it's a slight sadistic streak, but we kind of like it, don't we? When, you know, they kind of go careering into something and you just sort of wince and feel that pain at home.
You're through? Oh, no, you're not. Wrong door. Ow!
You'd have these guys running a set of doors. You know, one of them was locked shut with concrete. The other one you might just be able to walk through, but you didn't know. But you'd still just go for it. What were these people thinking?
Oh, got him started.
Talk about bringing a whole new meaning to Assault Course. It literally is being assaulted.
Oh, right in the head.
Phenomenal show. Crazy, ridiculous, stupid. I'd never do it.
Neither would I, Toby. When it comes to taking part in physical game shows, it can really hurt to be a loser, especially when your name is Joe Pasquale. In the watery dangers of total wipeout, Richard Hammond even made fun of the perils of their Argentinian location, where health and safety rules were a little less strict than here.
Excuse me.
Sí.
Where are we?
Estamos en la Argentina.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Los técnicos que tenéis son una trampa mortal.
Thank you. Wonderful people.
I got asked to do Total Wipeout, and I've been a big fan of the show, and I thought, if I ever get asked to do it, I'm definitely going to do it. And I knew it was filmed in Argentina, nice trip down to Argentina. So I'll get down there, and that was when I realised why they film it in Argentina. It's because they don't have the same health and safety laws that we do over here.
Joe Pasquale on Total Wipeout is like the UK version of Takeshi's Castle.
I'm perfectly fine, I'm not at all nervous, but I can't see nothing without my glasses. You think I'm off my head, don't you?
Yes.
He's a funny man, but physically incapable, really, of taking on any of those things. It was quite unfair of health and safety to even put him through it. That was a gamble, and it didn't pay off.
No, I don't really think he could. Classic, silly walk there from the veteran pantomime performer.
It's hilarious to see them fail, especially at the first hurdle, which is quite cruel. I think that's the nature of those shows, is to make us laugh.
20 of us went down there. 13 came back injured.
No.
Poor Joe, I mean, yeah, full marks for giving that one a go.
Squeaky Joe has been training with amateur boxers in preparation for this. He really has. So he should be able to show us a little of the art of the pugilist. No.
You can see already he's never going to make it. To go past the kind of, you know, the punching wall, nobody makes it past that. And then the sound effects that go along with it, probably just masking the, you know, the screams of pain.
So I thought, this is going to be a lot harder than I anticipated it to be.
He's got the look of a champion. I have got a good feeling about this. Come on, Joe. Come on. We're with you. We're with you. We're with you. No, we're not with you anymore.
I took a dive in the first round and spent the next 4 days enjoying myself in Argentina, really.
That was a loop-the-loop. It was, look. Red Arrows would have been proud of that manoeuvre. They wouldn't do it exactly the same, obviously, less mud.
A very muddy and very determined Joe Pasquale, bouncing his way to failure and performing a loop-the-loop in the process, when falling from the giant red inflatable death traps on Total Wipeout. What a good sport he was to put his life in danger for our entertainment. But up next, it's Richard O'Brien and his ingenious Crystal Maze.
Crystal Maze was like a fantasy game, and Richard O'Brien created this fantasy world that made you believe there was a lot more going on in Crystal Maze than you actually saw.
Well done, Lynn, you got over quickly. Here's Corrie.
The way Richard O'Brien ran you through all the zones, he made that game show his.
This is a horrible, horrible game which I love and I adore.
We love nothing more than listening to the stupidity of the people on the outside as well, trying to give instructions to the person inside.
Get a container, fill it up with water from the magic spring. Oh, what a shame. It looks like there's some holes in the bottom of the bucket.
You had to complete it, otherwise you were locked in there for good.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. You better come out.
Richard O'Brien was, quite frankly, weird, eccentric, creepy, odd, and we loved him for it.
Where's my beret? Where's my beret? I need my beret!
And he had characters around him. His mum, Mumsy was it, that he used to call her?
I was going to finish that up for Mumsy when she comes back, if she comes back.
Richard O'Brien's catchphrase, "Stop the fans, please!"
Will you start the fans, please?
The infamous Crystal Dome, which we all wanted to have a go on. because that was what you were winning your crystals for.
And so's the time. 5 gone.
And you had to separate the gold from the silver bits of foil. We all watched it at home and we thought we'd have a correct technique for it, but I don't think it was as easy when you were in it.
The Crystal Maze, no doubt, inspired our next action-packed and adrenaline-fueled game, Fort Boyard, which was basically the Crystal Maze on steroids.
Ahead of me, 4 kilometres out in the Atlantic Ocean, lies a Napoleonic fortress, home to tough and daunting challenges, exciting adventures, and a golden treasure guarded by tigers.
Fort Boyard felt like you'd been dropped into a living computer game.
She's going too fast, she's going too fast. Do it as slow as she can.
Slow as you can, Chris.
Inch your way along slowly.
Really slow, Chris.
You would face all these different challenges and you never knew what they were going to be. So there'd be like really physical tests of strength.
If he doesn't get it out in time, the clue will burn up. So we've got to hope he gets it. Come on, you big girl!
Go on,
You can do it!
You'd have to go and swim in the middle of the ocean, you know, brutally cold, choppy sea. And then add to that tigers and scorpions and spiders and snakes. It was pretty hardcore.
Sorry, I don't want to be touching them. Oh my
You're
God.
all right, you're okay, you're doing well, you're doing well.
I can't see anything.
Honestly, you're doing really well. Just keep looking.
There's nothing.
People really came together as a team and they really supported each other.
Keep going, you're doing really well. Come on, Chrissy, so proud of you. We're almost there. Just try a little bit faster.
It was demanding, it was really challenging. And I think that Fort Boyard, particularly things like the travelling head, where it was sort of filled with all the kind of creepy crawlies and creatures, was the precursor to I'm a Celebrity. There wasn't anything else like that on TV at the time.
Snakes, tigers and testosterone in Fort Boyard. I think that's the name of the next Bond film. Game shows were strange in the 90s, weren't they? Up next, we go from physical to quizzical on TV's greatest game shows.
More game show highlights than Bruce Forsyth's showreel. It's TV's greatest game shows with your host, Roy Walker.
Welcome back to TV's greatest game shows. We're enjoying highlights of some of the best game shows in history. And yes, we've done Catchphrase. That would have been a bit awkward, wouldn't it? It's time for one of the biggest winners in British game show history. Can you answer the £1 million question before Judith Keppel?
TV's greatest game show winners. Yes, Chris, that is her final answer.
Which king was married to Eleanor of Aquitaine? Henry I, Henry II, Richard I, Henry V.
You got 4 choices. What are you going to do? What do I go with? No, I know it's Henry II. I know it. But hold on a minute. Could it have been Henry I?
I still remember that so clearly. I didn't have a clue.
Quizzes are about drama, human drama. The people involved, the contestants, are ordinary people.
I think it's Henry II.
You're thinking all the time, not only do I want to answer this question correctly, the wrong answer, and I'm down £500,000.
She doesn't even seem 100% confident. You're playing for £1 million.
Now, that is pressure.
I do think it's Henry II. I think it's Henry II.
You lose £468,000 if you're wrong.
I think it's worth going for.
It's up to you.
I'm going to say Henry II.
The tension that Chris Tarrant brought to that moment, the whole of the nation, millions of us were on the edge of our seats.
Final answer.
Yep, final answer.
She was so focused and so in the zone, there was barely a movement on her face at all, right up until he said it was the right answer.
You've just won £1 million!
Judith Keppel, that takes a lot of bottle.
Almost immediately, one of the first things she wanted to do was give Chris Tarrant a hug.
When he just delivered that line, you've just won £1 million. I mean, it was just, you just felt the whole of the nation were just like up out of their sofas, you know, clapping. Incredible.
Have a look at this. Pay Judith Keppel £1 million. Look at that. Good luck. Have a fantastic night. God bless you. Take it now and put it in the bag.
Judith Keppel getting a cheque for £1 million and a kiss from Chris. He seemed overjoyed to be celebrating the first ever UK game show millionaire. Judith just seemed in shock. One of the most instantly recognisable theme tunes and opening to any game show is this one. The ticking blue clock and conundrum squares from Countdown.
A record was scored here. Zate, one of our players here today, scored 150, the highest ever scored over all the years of Countdown. So this is the creme de la creme, the best of the best.
You can't go on Countdown and be a one-trick pony and expect to do well. One of the wonderful things about Countdown, the ability to improve and to learn is almost infinite. Where some people fall down is if they don't care about the words themselves, you can find it more difficult to retain them. I love competition. I find it fuels me, I find it engages me, but I always make sure that whatever I'm doing, I remember that I'm doing it because I enjoy it.
Zate.
Give it a go, Bonhomus.
Let's see whether you're right. The special man. And of course it's to Zate that the victor's laurels fall in the form of this. There are only 15 in the world.
This is my Champion of Champions trophy. Whatever happens, whoever breaks records, whoever is a better player than me, I will always have this.
Let's turn down the lights now and put the spotlight on a man who knows a thing or two about general knowledge. Mastermind's champion of 1980 with an impressive win of 33 points. As a licensed taxi driver, he became known as the quizzing cabbie. Here's Magnus Magnusson welcoming him over to the infamous black leather chair.
Our second finalist, please, again. Licensed taxi driver from Rickmansworth, works from the rank at Heathrow Airport. Fred Housego.
Your name is called in Mastermind and you walk towards a chair. Now, I believe it's that moment when you're going to win or lose. I absorbed it. I thought, I've got through the first round and I haven't made an idiot of myself. My main concern was, in the first, second or any episode, was I wanted a minimum of 20. Because whether I won or lost after that, I wouldn't go in a pub and go, here he comes, he's a waste of space.
But this year's Mastermind 1980 on 33 points is London cabbie Fred Housego.
Quizzes always live in that bubble where it's tension, against and for. But when you add money to it, of course, there's that extra dimension.
When the stakes involve big money wins, quizzing can be taken advantage of. Here's an example when military man Major Charles Ingram had help from a coughing friend in the audience. One of Chris Tarrant's questions was to ask him if he had a strategy. Well, he certainly did. Listen out for the coughing that helped him win $1 million.
TV's greatest game show losers. Look at what you could have won.
Charles Ingram is here in the hot seat. Have you got a strategy?
When you produce enough quiz shows, you sort of know what human behaviour is, and you know where answers come from as well. And you know that people don't suddenly reach for something that wasn't there a minute ago, or if you do, you see the moment that it happens.
It's worth $1 million.
I'm not sure.
however.
Charles, you haven't been sure since question number...
I think it's a nanomole. And I have to say, I don't think I've heard of a Google.
It's a good job his mate never had a fisherman's friend. He'd have gone home putless, wouldn't he?
Fair play to the producers for following their instincts, knowing that something wasn't right, and then fair play to the investigators for working out exactly how he did it.
Google.
Looking at the clip, listening to the coughing, I thought to myself, it's bizarre that they did it that way.
I really do think it's a Google.
But you thought it was a nanomole. And you've never heard of a Google. And there's £1 million involved.
I know, but it's not a Gigabit, Nanomil and Megatron, and there's only 4 of them, so it must be Google.
It's an extraordinary moment in British game shows. Nobody was hurt, right? It's amazing television. It's an amazing story.
He lost out, the perpetrator, and so did the people with him. The show got the biggest amount of publicity it could ever have hoped for and would never, ever get again. Everybody involved with making the show, the audience, everybody won except the perpetrator. So it is virtually a victimless crime.
Charles, give me that cheque. £500,000. You no longer have that. You just won £1 million!
As Charles Ingram hands back a cheque for £500,000, it gets ripped up by Chris Tarrant and replaced for £1 million in an incredible story that became known as the Coughing Major. After the break, we come on down, USA style, and it's time to meet the Chaser on TV's greatest game shows.
It's a mighty marathon of game shows. It's TV's greatest game shows. Now, come on down, Roy Walker.
Welcome back to TV's greatest game shows, a treasure trove of TV tidbits from terrific telly of the past. Time now for a quick quiz. What's the odd one out from this list? Jeopardy? Countdown? Wheel of Fortune? Or The Price is Right? The answer is Countdown. All the others were first created in the USA, a place where everything just seems, well, bigger, including their contestant energy levels. Have a look at this.
Price is Right came from America first, you know, and it was massive.
Come on down! Here's the next contestant on that Price is Right. Come on!
The Americans, when they let themselves go, they really let themselves go. We never had anybody crowd surf down the audience.
That was an amazing come on down.
The iconic phrase, come on down, I cannot say that and give it the same ethos that Leslie Crowther gave it. I said, I'd rather not say that, not because I don't want to, other than the fact that I can't follow it. So we got the voiceover guy to do it instead.
Doreen Watkins, come on down!
People that play the game, it's the greatest experience ever because people are so excited.
Hey, Doreen, hello, love.
Hello, darling.
Hello. Can I say, you look completely normal, love, OK?
We did encourage people to dress up for the show and to let themselves go as much as possible.
£149. Doreen, you're here. Well done, love. Are you okay? Oh, yeah, I'm lovely. You've had too many E numbers today, haven't you, Doreen? You okay, love?
What you realise is it shows that the connection that people actually have with game shows, it actually means something to them. You know, there's obviously some sort of an emotional connection to it.
The fabric softener, is it higher or lower? Remember, it's own brand stock. Is it higher? If it's higher, is it higher? No, it's lower. Oh, I'm sorry, Doreen.
The Price is Right with Joe Pasquale, an emotional roller coaster of a game show where the simple choice of higher or lower can mean you win big or you go home empty-handed. Better luck next time, Doreen. Now, whether it's Alfred Hitchcock, Agatha Christie, or Chris Tarrant, we know how to do tension here in the UK. Here's a celebration of one of those three, and you don't get £1 million for guessing which one it is.
TV's greatest game show hosts. Is that your final answer?
Chris Tarrant, he's the master of the pause.
Sometimes I can't bear to look at my own screen. You just won $250,000.
A lot of us have tried to bring that same skill, that art of suspense, to things that we do. You know, when I'm on the radio and we do a big game and we're giving away, you know, £100,000, and I know that before I've told someone they've won £100,000, I have tried to deliver that pause, and it works. But he was the guy that started it all.
I'm going to say check, Chris.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer, people.
Final answer.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer. Yeah.
It was a classic catchphrase, and it also made the contestants kind of think about what answer they'd given and put a little bit of doubt in their mind.
Why are you laughing?
I'm just... It's you watch people on television and you see this sort of inner turmoil they go through and you just shout, take the money, or it's Czech, it's German. It's so hard.
Final answer.
Very clever catchphrase for a show like that.
And if Chris was the Prince of Pressure, this next woman was the Queen of Mean.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
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 She never said that to me because I wasn't weakest link.
Such a scary catchphrase. Anne Robinson was terrifying on The Weakest Link. Terrifying.
Why did you come on the show?
To try and win some money, Anne. And to meet you, of course.
Right. Well, you've only achieved one ambition, haven't you?
It was the first time on telly where someone was just so rude to someone's face, like trolling them to their face.
Oh, you weren't thinking of an ice cream cone?
No, not at that time, no.
No, you look as if you might like an ice cream.
I do like ice creams, yes.
Yeah, and other things, cakes, donuts?
Yes, chocolate, anything like that, yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
There was a cruel quiz show streak back in that era, and Anne was just magnificent in that role.
Did you think it was fancy dress?
This is what I do wear to work, actually, Anne.
Right.
I ride my bicycle wearing...
Yes,
these
and you
clothes.
wear a tutu, do you?
Sometimes, yes.
Yes.
It was sinister, and it was dog eat dog in that studio.
Of the £5,000 you could have won, you managed a derisory, pathetic, embarrassing £1,600.
She would sweep in and just take everybody down. She took no prisoners.
A game show star who's followed in Anne's venomous snake tracks is the Bolton Brainiac, a.k.a. the Vixen, on the chase. And between the pair of them, they've made the entire UK think twice about slagging off redheads ever again.
But who will you be up against today? Will it be the Vixen, so hot that when she has a bath, her rubber duck has its eggs poached?
Contestants don't know which of us is going to walk across the bridge.
Bring back the chaser.
They see us in silhouette all of a sudden, and we're stomping towards them down the bridge to this surge of sound and light. And that must be quite scary if you're the contestant.
Or perhaps you could be playing Jenny, the Vixen Ryan. At home, she wears the trousers. In here, she will scare the pants off you.
The Vixen was a tough contender.
Hello, Happy Shappy.
Hello, you're not intimidated by me at all, are you?
Let's look on the bright side. You're not going to be the first off this show.
What makes The Chase a really great game show is the brilliant idea of not being up against a computer or a machine. You're up against a real living, breathing human being who is a professional quizzer.
I think you could do the 60 grand. I think you could do it.
Wow.
I think she could do it, couldn't she?
Yes,
This is my moment. This is my perfect moment for 60 grand. They don't want to look silly. They want you to look silly. And that makes it really exciting because it's kind of personal between you and the chaser. And if you get it, it's a mutual sort of respect, but also wanting the other one to die.
We do have, professional pride. We don't get penalised when we lose, but we want to win every single game.
That is against all the rules.
Oh,
no! No, yeah, you will have to wait until I've finished reading A, B and C before you press any buttons. That happens again, you're out.
OK. I never understand the rules of any game. People explain rules to me and I'm like, tweet, 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 tweet. It just goes out my mind. And, oh, I knew the answer. I was excited. And Bradley told me off. Oh, how long is this going to go on for? My nerves are just...
Well, as long as you keep talking, we can't get on.
All right.
Here's the next question.
OK, breathe. It doesn't take much for me to feel like a 5-year-old again. And so when I felt told off, I felt like the kid that had, wet themselves in assembly.
If the chase is correct, you're out.
I know. Go on, babe, get it wrong.
Chaser has put...
I want to win. There's probably always a little bit of me that's going, but these are really nice contestants, though. But then you have to let the quiz dominant personality come out and really take control.
The vixen from The Chase makes Mr Chips look a lot less scary, doesn't she? After the break, there's more from The Chase when we check in with Bradley Walsh and Richard Osmond from Pointless. These new guys need to watch out, though. I've had so much fun today, I think someone's due a bit of a revival.
More game shows than Bully has had hot dinners. It's TV's greatest game shows with your host, Mr. Roy Walker.
Well, we've been on a fantastic journey across the evolution of game shows, from variety to tricky quizzes, by terrible tumbles and super tense challenges. And now it's time to give the new kids in the block a fighting chance with those modern quiz shows currently stealing the limelight. Up first, we've got Bradley Walsh on The Chase. Now, rule number 1 in presenting game shows is always keep your composure. Bradley obviously had a different rule book to the rest of us.
TV's greatest game show hosts. Hold it in, Bradley.
What's great about The Chase is, Brad,
According to the saying, what must you not let under the tent?
he doesn't know the questions that are coming up. He insists, I don't want to know what these questions are beforehand. And you can see, he has no clue what's coming up on the screen any more than you do.
A, the camel's hump. B, the camel's nose. C, the camel's toe.
And when he finds something funny, he doesn't hold back, he lets it go.
You've put. The camel's nose. Thankfully.
There's nothing funnier than watching someone trying to hold it in as well. It's like when you watch like a drama and someone's trying to hold back them crying, and it makes you cry more.
I'm not familiar with the expression, but it just seems to me the most logical.
It just takes me back to being in school.
When stuff like that happens, you realise that Brad is just a bloke on the telly reading questions, and he's enjoying it as much as you are.
In what sport does Fanny Schmeller compete for Germany?
The Fanny Schmeller clip is the most famous and most talked about thing from The Chase ever.
A, swimming. B, show jumping. Or C, skiing.
The contestant is kind of oblivious as to why he's laughing, because he's just focused on getting the answer right, and he's like going process of elimination. And Bradley Walsh is just there going, Fanny!
And even like the chasers, you know, Anne Hecate, she's so kind of stiff, you know, but seeing her like corpse in situations because Bradley can be like that, it lets us kind of take back, you know, the sort of front of the show, which is like the evil chaser, because Bradley's having a laugh. You know, we can all forget that this is a TV show for a second and it's just us having a laugh.
Doesn't really have a ring for me like Fanny Schmeller. So I just thought it goes with show jumping.
The contestant he knows, and the fact that he repeats the name, he's trying to wind them up. He doesn't realise the reaction that's going to get, though.
And that's Bradley Walsh right there. He's us at school. He's just going, I can't laugh at this, but the person's called Fanny Schmeller. It's funny.
What is the cartoon character Andy Capp known as in Germany? A. Dick Tingler.
Poor Tim Vine is trying to concentrate because there's a lot of money at stake. As Mark points out, there's 100 grand at stake.
There's 100 grand at stake here. Pull yourself together.
And trying to concentrate on the question. And yet Brad's away with the fairies. He's loving that moment.
The correct answer is... Come on. Oh! It's Willy Wonka.
It's entertainment, and Bradley is such a perfect host for that.
He is a consummate professional, but also knows how to have a lot of fun.
Bradley Walsh there on The Chase, proving that when all is said and done, playground humour just works. Here's a show that's lucky it's so good, because if it wasn't, its name could very well be used against it. Of course, it's pointless.
The biggest cog in this colossal quizzing machine, it is my pointless friend, it's Richard.
Hiya. Hey, everybody. The thing I love most about Pointless is it is part of people's regular daily routine. It's on every day, and you get that with lots of quizzes. You know, that was blockbusters when I was growing up. And I genuinely think that is the truth. Neither of us has a mean sense of humour, OK? We like very silly things. And the second they put something like Famous Dicks up on the board, we'll muck about, we'll be silly. And if you don't like it, I absolutely get that. But if you feel included, then it becomes your favourite show because, you know every day there's going to be questions. But he loves mucking about. He loves trying to make me laugh. I love trying to make him laugh. And it's very, very hard when you're on every day, to fake it, to kind of be someone that you're not, especially if you're having to talk to somebody. So he's talking about, his mask would slip. And I keep trying to get his mask to slip. And you know what? He doesn't wear a mask. It's really annoying. He's just a really fundamental mick out of him terribly. I mean, he's such a good sport. There's very few shows where I don't absolutely aim something at him. And he stands there and takes it. But he's a very funny guy. I love making him laugh. And I always think if I'm making Xander laugh, then I'm making people at home laugh.
Well, it seems that the future of our greatest game shows is in very good hands. That's almost all we have time for. But before we go, what do our celebrities think is the greatest game show of all time?
It's time to reveal TV's greatest game shows.
The greatest game show of all time has to be... Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Presented by Chris Tarrant.
Have a look. You've got £250,000. Serious check. Still shaking?
Who just had all the spiel, was fantastic with each contestant.
The kids said don't do jokes. Yeah. They said don't be a goon and don't do jokes, Dad.
They can't tell me what to do now.
I don't think they can.
And of course you had that Jeopardy and you had the money at the end of it. The first game show that ever gave away a 1 and 6 zeros.
You've just won £1 million!
I love it.
This show, for me, has everything I could possibly want.
There's one that has changed my life.
And that is The Chase.
The Chase.
A, thumb. B, skin. C, duvet.
The Chase is definitely a modern classic.
I love it.
Bradley is warm and genuine, and he takes every moment as it comes.
Skin. Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good tune. It's a good tune. OK, correct answer is... Skin's right, step closer to home.
It feels like a very old-fashioned format. but it's still got the modernity of winning lots of money.
Since you asked me, and before I go, I think the greatest game show...
There's so many great game shows. It's really difficult.
The greatest game show...
For me, the greatest game show is...
The Generation Game.
The Generation Game.
Generation Game.
The Generation Game.
It had everything going for it. It had the host, had the contestants, had the games.
And let's have a look here. Well, it was... there we are. Not bad. He didn't get the bow on the bottom there, and she's a bit risky at the top. Maybe that's the way you wanted it.
I remember really being on the side of the contestants, willing them to win, and watching Bruce Forsyth do his absolute best to bring humour and joy into every little thing that they did.
How did we do here? Very nice.
It really was a show that entertained you and uplifted you, so you felt happy whenever you watched it.
Thanks for joining me. I've absolutely loved delving into the archives to bring you game show gold. Until next time, hey, keep pressing and guessing.